This is Garima Singh, a PhD candidate from the Department of AIC and Archaeology, Deccan College, Pune, India. Today, in this presentation, I'll be talking about the pyrotechnological development in the region of Ghaggar. Ghaggar is a dry tributary of an ancient river called Saraswati, which flows across the northwestern part of the country. And I have divided this presentation into two segments. One segment deals with the archaeological data, and the second one deals with the ethnographical data, which I have presented in the form of slides and as well as video. So let's get back to the slide.
The title of my research paper is Reconstructing the Pyrotechnological Development of the Harappans using ethnographical parallels in the region of Ghaggar, India. In the picture, one can notice an excavated area consisting of many trenches where a wide-mouth kiln is surrounded by many furnaces being exposed during the excavation. This area is the state of Rajasthan, and this red dot shows the location of the site of Binjore. The Binjore 4MSR has yielded many fine examples of classical Harappan kilns, which one can see in this picture. This is a pyriform shaped kiln, and however, sites like Baror and Tarkanwala Dera, which are very close to the site, and these two sites were excavated earlier than the site of Binjore was excavated. However, sites like Baror and Tarkanwala has also reported kilns along with slags and terracotta objects in situ. These two maps shows us the strategic location of the site of Binjore, close to the many Harappan sites like Rakhigadi, Kalibanga, and Harappa. Kalibanga has given us the earliest evidence of crop mark dating back to 3000 BC in India, whereas the site of Rakhigadi is considered to be one of the largest Harappan site reported in the subcontinent. It is important to notice why am I mentioning the location of these sites. The reason is very simple, because the Binjore is located in between these major cities, and it's a small rural settlement and one of its kind in the history of industrial development of Harappans. The close proximity with Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Kalibanga makes this site very important for trading activity, because the site is a tiny rural settlement measuring up to 1 hectare, and it has yielded more than 200 furnaces and kilns, suggesting that it was exporting craft item to all these major cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. There are many people who have contributed in the history of the site. The major excavation happened in the year of 2015, which lasted up to 2017. This was conducted by Dr. S.K. Manjul. He is a director of Institute of Archaeology as well as director, Joint DG of Archaeological Survey of India. Under him, I got an opportunity to work on this site for many months, and we ended up finding a great industrial site like Binjore. Binjore has yielded 3 cultural sequences from the site. In India, apart from these sites outside India, we have sites like Langhanaz and Mahadaha. These Mesolithic sites and Neolithic sites have reported many chulhas, an earliest example of fire being used. The craft items of Harappans were mainly terracotta and semi-precious stone, and this map helps us understand the location of raw material sources of all the craft items of semi-precious and terracotta. The right picture shows the present-day mound during my visit to the site of Binjore this year, and the left one shows the accumulative trenches from all the 3 seasons. Now coming back to the site of Binjore, which has yielded a variety of furnaces from the site, and I have taken these 4 pictures into account, and I'll be comparing the other kinds with contemporary sites from the Ghaggar region. It's a picture of a closed-mouth furnace being created during the experiment, which was later broken down to collect molten copper, leaving behind the circular patch on the ground. Similarly, these kinds of circular and oval and circular shafted furnaces were mostly had superstructure of a furnace like this, whereas circular furnace is the most abundant type among all the furnaces found from the site. Pot-based furnace is unique in its own way because such furnaces are created by placing a circular baked pot under the ground, and then it is plastered by clay, and the plaster was applied multiple times. Whereas the circular furnace with the shaft consisting of terracotta cakes here helps us to understand that these terracotta cakes were mostly used for retaining the heat for fabricating metallic objects. And such furnaces are being known as pyriform shaped furnaces. We have collected charcoal and ash for scientific analysis, which is still under process. And soon I'll be having result these analyses are basically being conducted to understand the temperature variation among all these furnaces based on the collected sample. From the other Harappan adjacent sites of Rajasthan, of Ghaggar, we have similar kind of furnaces being reported. For instance, the furnace on the left is from Kalibanga, which was excavated in 1960s, and the right one is from 2016 excavation at Binjore. Similarly, we have these three conjoined furnaces from Binjore, and it has similarity with the Kalibangan fire altar. Apart from these furnaces, site of Binjore has also reported domestic hearths such as tandoors, which were also reported from the site of Kalibanga. And these tandoors are most popular among Punjabis of Rajasthan. Here at the site of Lothal, we have found the Lothal is a very unique site from the state of Gujarat. It is not coming in the region of Ghaggar, but I have chosen this picture for the representative reference because we have the similar kind of furnace being reported from the site of Binjore. It is considered to be a bead furnace, according to the excavator of Lothal, Sir S.R. Rao. Here, one can also notice the similar kind of furnace being reported from Lothal and Binjore with the mud brick in the center. Two updraft kilns from Binjore are distinct in nature. Both the kind are still in practice in different parts of India. And the left kiln is among the most common for simple vessels, for pots, whereas pyriform kiln are mostly used for deluxe ware. And Harappans are known for their classic Harappan ware, such as S-shaped jars and perforated jar. However, these excavated trenches are from different season, giving us the extensive industrial activity happening at the site. This shallow wedge-shaped tank, along with the industrial waste and furnace, gives us the glimpse of annealing technique being practiced for cooling down the molten metal, for which they needed a water-resistant tank or pot. These are the molds which we found, and again, these molds, the samples from these molds are also taken into consideration for further analysis. The experiment was carried out long before I started my research work. I've had an opportunity to work with Professor Mark Kenoyer, who helped us to understand the pyrotechnology of Harappans by conducting these experiments. We used all the indigenous method devoid of any modern equipment except thermocouples for reading the highest temperature in copper furnace and pottery kiln. We built updraft kiln and tried to reconstruct the Harappan pottery and etched carnelian beads. Coming to the second segment, which is ethnographical data. Here, I have recorded the present day potters, blacksmiths, and goldsmiths in the district of Anupgarh, which is very close to the excavated site of Binjore. It's hardly 4 kilometers from the district. During my survey, I covered the area about 50 to 60 kilometers, where I came across two potters. One is from a town called Rai Singh Nagar, and the other one is Anupgarh, which is very close to the excavated site of Binjore. Here, I have tried my hands on creating pottery and documented the firing technique, which hasn't changed in 3,000 years. Here, they collect clay from nearby field and soak the clay over a night, which is basically an illustration technique where heavier particles settle down and finer clay is used for creating vessels. Here, the potter from Raising Nagar, he still practices the hand motion wheel, whereas a 23-year-old potter from Anupgarh, he uses electric wheel. The two kinds of pigment are being used for coloring the pot. Yellow turns red after firing, and firing stage involves placing the husk underneath the pot, and these unbaked pots are mostly kept above the glass-shaped stand, which kind of gives the stability to all these pots. Above these unbaked pots here, broken potsherds are kept, and it is covered with clay plaster, which is mixed with husk, and two chambers like this are created for putting fuel, and the fuel is mostly cow dung or wood. Approximately 5 quintal of wood powder and 2 quintals of wood is used for baking at approximately 200 pots. These are the vessels after firing, and the beautiful lady is selling her pots in the market. Earlier, I have mentioned about the domestic hearths, mostly tandoors. But apart from tandoor, we have examples of chulas, which are basically Indian stoves. We call it desi chula. Here, we can see a beautiful Rajasthani women using tandoor to make the tandoori roti. And chulhas to prepare curries are mostly used. And this is the beautiful view of their kitchen in their village. Haras are mostly used to warm the water, mostly to take bath. I'll skip to the blacksmiths in the village where I found out they are using these small open furnaces aired by hand motion blowers for air. They are making small agricultural tools and kitchen utensils. Apart from that, they are not well versed in creating large items. I have tried to document goldsmiths in order to understand how the ornaments and the technique of producing ornament has changed, or it has continued the way Harappans were using these techniques. Here, this is a 20-year-old Sagar. I have had an opportunity to talk to him. He's been practicing to make rings and many kinds of jewelry. So I have documented these are the modern molds which they use to get the ingot of gold. And this is the gas chambered furnace. They use it to melt the gold. And there are different kinds of mold they use to create pendants. And one can see a beautiful pendant is worn by this Rajasthani lady from the site. And this is the machine they use to create wire to get the shape. I hope I did justice to this presentation. If any one of you have suggestions, I would be glad to take suggestions and insight by the organizers and all the people who are listening to my presentation. Thank you so much. Namaste.